I've seen a lot of people still in high school or in college that are horribly addicted to nicotine because of this fucking thing, and it worries me. I've been very decent at moderating my intake of substances and also controlling my impulses of said substance. But I can see this thing, and I can see how bad it can be for people who do not have the wherewithal or the ability to moderate their intake or to control their impulses to take it. And goddamn, does this suck. You know, something I hadn't thought, I knew about before, and I've talked about before, and the fact that I'm not a big fan of nicotine vapes. I think they're not good. And this is for somebody who has vaped for a while, just not liquids. I vape flower, the weed. So you literally just take literal weed, like what you would put in a joint or a bowl or whatever, but you put it in a vape that has an oven, and it heats it to the point that the oils give off a vapor in the weed, and then you inhale that. I got, and I've talked about this on the stream before, this 20-to-1 CBD vape. So it's not pure CBD or whatever, because usually I think you need to, like, any shop I've gone to, say you need your own battery and you gotta get cartridges of it. They don't make disposables like that. But this was just to try it out. I'm not a big fan of disposable vapes. Seems pretty wasteful. But the whole point to them is, like, easy access. Does it help any? No. However, I have noticed, and this is a thing that I've talked about and why I don't like vapes, is that I'll see this thing next to me, just sitting here on my desk, and I'd be like, huh, it would be incredibly easy for me to hit this vape. There is no input other than breathe it in, blow it out. I don't have to prep it at all. I don't have to do nothing. I just have to pick it up, use it. Whereas if I wanted to vape like weed, well, I would have to get my weed vape out of the fucking dugout, and I have to take it out. There's already weed in here that I probably have to get rid of, so I gotta take that out, empty it, make sure it's cleaned out well enough, then I gotta get the other weed, either grind it or pull it off the nug, then I gotta put it in there, then I gotta take the butane torch to heat it up and then hit it. And there's a lot more investment there, and it makes it less likely for any impulse decisions I might make to occur because it's harder to do. It's the same for cigarettes. The cigarettes are actually a lot easier than what I just described, right? You just get the cigarette, light it up, smoke it, right? Though with that, you got to go outside unless you're okay with smoking in your own home. But a lot of people have to go outside to do that, and that's a level of investment, because if it's cold, you got to get a jacket on, you might have to get shoes on. That's also going to be harder, especially if you're trying to conceal it. But with this thing, it's just here. It smells good, it tastes good, and it's easy for me to just, I can hit this thing forever. It makes my lungs feel a certain way because it's hot, but it's not literal burning plant matter that I'm inhaling the smoke of, so it's not as rough on the lungs. And it's only solidified how much I hate disposable vapes. Because I have seen in the workplaces that I've worked in, because I've worked food service has a lot of turnover, and it's a lot of college kids, late high school kids. I started working at a food service place when I was in my junior year of high school. I've seen a lot of people still in high school or in college that are horribly addicted to nicotine because of this fucking thing. And it worries me. Apparently, we had almost done away with, nicotine, and the rates had been, I'd say almost done away. The rates were really fucking low for the people who were regularly having nicotine, because nicotine high is dog shit. I don't know how people enjoy that, but it was really low. Like, cigarette smoking was very down. And then these things, though this is, 20-to-1 CBD vape, nicotine vapes come out, and back up it goes. It's actually easier. You can conceal these things easier. You can hide them from your parents easier. They smell better. They don't stay in the air as long because it's vapor and not smoke. You don't get the smell on you as much on your clothes or whatever, or in your hair, and even if you do, it smells good. It tastes good. It's easier to chain vape this than to chain smoke literal burning organic plant matter. I have seen so many people that are horribly addicted to nicotine at such a young age because of these things, and I see this next to me at like 5 in the morning before I'm going to bed, and I'm like, whoa, I could just hit that. I'm done. I could just do that. Now, luckily, I have the wherewithal with substances that I've always been fairly good at either controlling those impulses or moderating my intake of them. So back when I smoked weed a lot more than I do now I almost never do. I've just been trying out the CBD shit because I wanted to see if CBD was cool or not. If, it helped with any body aches or pains I might have. It doesn't seem to do a whole lot for me. But I don't hate it. Like, back when I was smoking, I would only do it, like, once at night after work with a meal. And I wouldn't try to go fucking, like, hard on it. I didn't like the idea of trying to, like, outsmoke other people. And for me, I never really smoked that much socially. I started socially because, somebody else had it. And that's usually how it starts. Like, how you first get into a thing like that. Because you're not going to go out and look for this shit as often as you might just run into it randomly from friends. But the majority of my smoking life, I've just done it on my own. And for that, I've always moderated my shit to the point where this vape is essentially a one-hitter. Because you have to let it cool down. If you overheat the cap, which is essentially the oven that the flower is in, see it in there? You can't really see it. You can actually damage it to the point where it might not work anymore. You actually literally have to let it cool down. And when I was just smoking weed, I would use a one-hitter. Like, the ones that look like cigarettes? They have a small hole at the end. You put the fucking weed in and you smoke it. It's called a one-hitter because you're supposed to only get, like, one hit out of it. Usually you can get more than that. But anyway, when it comes to the coffee I drink 1 8-ounce cup of coffee a day. I do not exceed that because I've seen so many people in my family not only addicted to nicotine, but also addicted to caffeine. And I don't want to deal with that shit. So I only drink 1 8-ounce cup of coffee a day. So I've been very decent at moderating my intake of substances and also controlling my impulses of said substances. But I can see this thing, and I can see how bad it can be for people who do not have the wherewithal or the ability to moderate their intake or to control their impulses to take it. And goddamn, does this shit suck. I've just been thinking of it because, like, I stayed up way too goddamn late last night because I spent my entire day hyper-focused on some art shit, which I'm happy to have done, and I'm glad to have spent the time on. But I also had to make a thumbnail for the most recent video on the YouTube channel. I didn't know what the fuck to do for it. I didn't particularly care about the video either. And I just stayed up way too long trying to figure out what to do for that. It's like 8:30 in the morning. I see this thing on my desk, and I'm like, wow, I could just hit that right now. And this is just a CBD vape. Like, this is not some shit I'm going to get addicted to. If this was nicotine, a incredibly physically addictive drug, Jesus Christ. And it's very easy to drink coffee, too. Now, of course, there are negative effects to, partaking in any of these. But, like, it's very easy to drink coffee, too. It's like, well, that's why alcohol is really easy to deal with and get addicted to. Because you just drink it. I don't drink alcohol, though. I'm not a big fan. I stay away from it. It's just not for me. I'll sip alcohol here and there, but I don't get drunk. Like, I'll try people's drinks that they might get at, like, a food place or whatever. But anyway, I've just been thinking about it. Be careful out there is what I mean to say. With the things you're putting in your body. It's not to say that you should avoid them entirely, though. I don't know what the fuck the benefit of nicotine is. I do not get it. I've smoked a cigarette before. I have to tell you that shit was ass. And that wasn't even like a commercial cigarette. Like a Marlboro or whatever. That was like some of the better ways to smoke tobacco. It was just tobacco that you're supposed to roll yourself, which was a lot better when it comes to what was in the tobacco than commercial cigarettes that have like the formaldehyde, the rat poison, all this fucking shit in them. That shit is ass. Nicotine high is so bad. I don't know how people like it. It just makes me nauseous. I don't get it. It gives me a headache, makes me lightheaded. I don't understand it. But that shit sucks. Like, I saw a tweet. It was, like, on the tweet trend of, oh, give me a picture that makes you go, I did that. Which is usually supposed to be, like, a positive thing. Like, people will post really nice outfits and them looking really good. They'll post their own artwork that they're really proud of. And then I see a post from somebody, and it's like a fucking mountain of discarded nicotine cartridges. Like, a fucking mountain of them. And it hurt me to look at. Because, like, I cannot imagine what that person's relationship with nicotine might be. And, like, they were kind of posting it like a flex. I don't know if it was, like, a cry for help. They were kind of posting it as a flex. And that hurts my soul. Like, I feel bad for this person. Like, this shit is not good. And it makes me worry. Because, like, there would be motherfuckers who are, like, hitting their vape in the walk-in freezer at work for people that I work with. Like, they couldn't bear to not do it, or the ease of access that they had to do it in a private place like a walk-in freezer where there's usually not a camera, they're not going to get in trouble. Fucking high school age kids doing that shit because it's easy to do. Just prolonging their nicotine addiction. And it's like, holy shit, man. This is not good. And, like, you're a developing human being at that point. Like, your brain is, like, in very pivotal stages of development, and you're getting horribly addicted to a dog shit substance like nicotine. Makes me sad. It's so expensive, too. If they're disposables, it adds up real quick. Oh, I can imagine, yeah. But yeah, it's not to say I don't also have addictions. I'm addicted to my PC, for instance, you know? But I mean, who amongst us aren't addicted to their screens, right? Be it your PC, your laptop, or your phone. But that's something I am aware of. I'm not afraid to admit it. Now, unfortunately, my job entails me being on screens even when I'm not live. But I would be either way. Because I was doing that shit before. I was a streamer, right? Or a content creator. And I gotta get better at it. I gotta get better with it. But I also have to do a lot of other shit in my life that I'm trying to make better. So I understand having vices. I understand having a thing to, like, deal with some shit and distract you. Like, I get it. But I don't know. Maybe this could be cope. I don't think it is. I think being addicted to a screen is probably not going to be as bad as being addicted to a drug, right? Like a chemical that you're putting in your body, like caffeine, like nicotine, like alcohol, you know? And it's not to say you can't get addicted to weed either, because you can. It is not physically addictive by its chemical nature, as far as I'm aware, but you can form an addictive relationship with literally anything, right? Like, screens, well, I could say this, but, like, social media is literally engineered to be as addictive as possible in how you use and engage it, but, like, the screens themselves are not. It's what you're doing with them. Thing is how much it screws with life. Yeah, if something is interrupting your day-to-day life and making it worse and you can't stop yourself from doing it, that's the problem. And weed can definitely be that, because for some people, I don't know. There's a lot of people that cope out there. I'm pretty sure the majority of people are not this way, but for some small minority of regular weed smokers, they're, like, high functioning. Like, it helps them. They have a sativa. It makes them able to do what the fuck they need to do. You know, great. Good for you. But I would also, be careful about how much you're partaking, especially with weed, because you can develop tolerances and shit, and you end up needing more and more. I think the majority of people who partake in weed, it being a recreational thing, totally fine. It is what it is. But there's a stereotype of weed smokers who are, like, unbothered, lackadaisical, lethargic. There's a stereotype of weed smokers like that for a reason, because that is a very real effect that can happen to your life. I experienced this, which is why I don't smoke weed anymore, even though I used to every single day. And of course, I moderated my usage back then. But, like, for me personally, I already struggle enough with ADHD depression shit, with being able to get my work done, and having the mental energy or motivation, if you want to call it that, to get things I want to do done, not just work, but, like, even leisure activities. I already have enough struggles with that, and weed just makes that worse for me. So only using it for recreation is cool. But there was a period of time in my life where it was like, okay, well, maybe I could try to do this as, like, a daily thing. No. Turns out I could not. Luckily, I had the wherewithal to understand that. But, like, I don't know. You can get addicted to anything. That's what I mean to say. And I don't know what the fuck we're talking about anymore. Speaking of ADHD depression. Also, this shit is fucked. If this was a nicotine vape anyway. CBD vape, it's not as bad. Like, this isn't even like a THC vape. It's 20-1. So it's, like, super majority CBD. But there is, some THC in here. And, I do feel it if I hit it enough. Like, one hit from this thing, I don't feel that much from. Like, 2 or 3 hits from this thing, and I can start to feel more of the THC effects, because I'm very familiar with those. Now, of course, there is CBD in the weed that you're smoking, but usually there's a lot of more of the THC, and those effects that you feel are more present and easily understood and identifiable when you're feeling them. The CBD is more like the body becoming more, like, loosey-goosey and, like, muscles relaxing and stuff like that, which is why it's really good for pain relief. People experience anyway. And that's why regular, like, straight up just, like, regular weed is also. But I don't know. I don't seem to recognize too much from it other than that. And I just think that cannabinoids generally, like, cannabis is just not for me. Like, after trying the CBD, after trying, like, incredibly small doses of vaping weed, like, one-hitting shit, just not that great. Doesn't work very well for me. And luckily, I don't need to be, dealing with it. I don't feel the need to continue to be dealing with it. I still, hit this thing every now and again really late at night. I don't do it early in the day. Like, I don't do it before a stream, during a stream, because it makes me tired. And I'm already struggling with being tired all the time enough. So, I don't need to deal with that. But anyway, be careful out there. Addiction's a real thing. Get help if you need it. It's not always easy to attain said help. Trying to have, like, a support group of friends who support you and care about you and are willing to, like, check in with you about shit is free, ideally. Try your best out here. And, like, even if you don't have, like, the friends, there are, like, support groups online and shit, and, like, strangers online you could talk to, maybe make friends with. There's something. I don't know. I've got a lot of empathy for the people I used to work with that are addicted to the nicotine version of these things. And my family, there's a lot of people who are addicted really badly to nicotine, smoking cigarettes. A lot of people in my family are really addicted to caffeine, like drinking multiple cups of coffee a day. I've seen what addiction looks like. Luckily, I haven't had much experience with, like, family members being addicted to alcohol, because I hear that can get really bad and destructive. It's not to say I have no experience with, hearing about or seeing that. But, be careful. That's all. Anyway.